Jai Jagannath. Thanks for coming. This is the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15, and we were reading from verse 8 onwards. We were actually reading number 8. The Lord who has entered the body and accepted all these, mind and senses, that then goes out again with them, like the air carries the sense. Okay, here when it's the word, the Sanskrit word that is translated as the Lord is Ishvara. So Ishvara and Prabhu is both the Paramatma and the Jivatma. Okay, so Paramatma is always accompanying, coming and going, entering a body and going outside the body, leaving the body. So verse 9, he becomes settled there with the mind and the sense organs, hearing, sight, touch, taste and smell, and renders service to the sense objects or through the sense objects. So this is interesting. Vishaya Vishayanupasevate. Anupasevate. Vishayan upasevate. Okay, Vishayan is the plural. Upasevate, render service, works. This service refers to all the actions in the material duties and the spiritual duties. Now, it's this is interesting because the natural function of the jiva is to serve the sum total. So it's interesting because depending on the level of consciousness, we serve either God or the senses. In the first mode, in the first mentality approach, we serve through Yogamaya. In the second approach, we serve through Mahamaya. But we are always serving God, in a sense. Is that clear?
Not much.
Not much. Okay, you remember that verse that said that Manusya Partha Sarvasa. Mama Vartmanu Vartante Manusya Partha Sarvasa. Okay.
Yeah.
All people, all human beings, okay, Manusya Sarvasa, are following the marga, the path, the road of God. Now, it is interesting that Krishna does not make a distinction when talking about the Ishvara. It's both the Atman and the Paramatma. Because the Paramatma also is reciprocating our service. Krishna is saying in another verse, to those who worship me with devotion, those who approach me, I reciprocate. So it's all a wonderful relationship of service. The Atma serves Paramatma, and the Paramatma has this loving relationship with the Atman, by which the Paramatma is taking care of the Atman, even through the sense objects. How we perceive, how we perform in the devotional service. There is this famous quote that I like a lot, that says, Rishikesha Rishikena Sevanam Bhaktir Uchate. Bhakti is described as serving God through the senses. So, Rishikesha Rishikena, the Paramatma is Ishvara Purusha as perception, and rasa, sentiment. The Vedas are saying, rasa vaisa, God is sentiment, God is perception, God is love. You hear a lot of times, God is love. What does that mean, God is love? Not only that God loves people, the jivas, but God is love. God is perception, is rasa, is sentiment, right? Now, when we are in the material world, we develop a material body, and Paramatma is always with us. Paramatma and Jivatma are connected through a relationship. It is a relationship of love. It can manifest in different ways. It's not always, depending on the situation, the circumstances, our choices, it can manifest in different ways. Sometimes when we are distracted by material consciousness, it doesn't manifest because we don't think about God. But we are serving God nonetheless. When Krishna is saying Manusha Mama Vartmanu Vartante, Manusha Partha Sarvasaha, everyone is serving God through the senses. If we are not conscious of God, we are, giving this service to the sense objects. When we are conscious of God, we give service through the sense objects. I don't know, does it help? Is it a bit clearer?
Yes, slightly clear.
Slightly, okay. Let's try again. We are drilling into the mine, to get out some gold and diamonds here. Drilling. We have to dig up. Okay. What is the word Ishvara? What does Ishvara means? Ishvara means who is controlling, right? Someone who controls.
Yes.
The Lord that controls. Okay. Now, the jiva has some power to control through, the individual choices. We can choose specifically if we want to give service to the sense object or through the sense objects. But Ishvara, in the sense of Paramatma, is always controlling. And is even controlling the jiva through Maya, through the illusion. Now, when Ishvara is controlling the jiva through Mahamaya, the jiva thinks that he is choosing. But what is actually performing the action is a Mahamaya under the control of Ishvara, of God, of Paramatma. This is why the Paramatma is called Upadrashta and Anumanta. Upadrashta means that the Paramatma is always the witness, is perfectly aware of everything. And Anumanta means giving permission, because God controls through giving permission. God is not forbidding anything. Okay. Now, the Abrahamic ideologies have all these commandments. God is ordering, God is forbidding, God is, punishing and rewarding. This has actually nothing to do with God. Because God doesn't want to force us to do anything. The only thing that God wants is that we develop our consciousness, our awareness. We grow up, we evolve. So in all the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is giving Arjuna explanations about the science of how everything works. Then in the end, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is telling Arjuna, okay, now I have explained to you the whole thing. Now think about it and then decide what you want to do. So the Paramatma is doing the same with us at every moment. Paramatma is giving us good suggestions, instructions, knowledge, perception, everything. And then the Paramatma says, okay, this is the situation. Now think about it and then make your decision. Make your choice. In a sense, we are making a choice. But it's not a free choice 100%, because the teacher, the supreme teacher, the Param Guru, is leading us to the actual learning. Let's make the example of the school. Okay, we go to school, a child goes to school, and the teacher has to teach. Okay, what that means that the child needs to learn. So, in order to learn, the child needs to have a certain amount of free will, free choice. Because the teacher will ask the questions, after explaining all the subject and everything, then the teacher will ask questions. Will ask the student to show what is the right thing to do, what he wants, what he chooses as the right thing to do. Isn't that so?
Yes.
So the value, the skills of the teacher are greater when the child gets the understanding apparently on his own. It's not that the teacher gives the child, the student, ready-made answers. That is not teaching, that is indoctrinating. It's a different thing. Indoctrination means that the student should not understand, doesn't need to understand. Sometimes he should not understand. Just has to repeat the prepackaged answers. The doctrine. That is why it's called indoctrination. A doctrine is something you don't need to understand. You just need to learn by, to memorize. But that is not a good teacher. Because we can memorize a book even without a teacher. What's the need of a teacher? You see where I'm going?
Yes.
Okay. So, Paramatma is a Param Guru, is a supreme teacher. So there's lots of patience, and Paramatma is leading us patiently, skillfully, to see the lessons we need to learn, the things we need to understand, so that we will make the right choice. And sometimes we fail, and sometimes we pass. Why we fail? Because we are learning. So there is no punishment when you fail. But you need to know that you failed. So this is why the karma is the law of the universe, the law of cause and effect. Karma is not a punishment, it's not a reward, but it shows us if we made the right choice or the wrong choice. So when we make the wrong choice, we get bad karma, in the sense that we will get the lesson repeated to us in, maybe in a slightly different manner. If we make the right choice, we get some kind of encouragement, like, oh, okay, you did the right thing, so you're getting something good. But that's not given by God. In a sense, God is giving the karma, the results of the karma, but just as Anumanta, not as a judge or or a king that is giving the gifts to the people. It's not a gift. It's an encouragement to make us understand that we made the right choice. Now, why we should not be too attached to victory or defeat, gain or loss? Because it's just a lesson. It's not the purpose of life. When you go to school, and especially in mathematics, you have in the early classes, elementary school, you have this, sometimes very silly problems you have to solve, like you have 5 mangoes and your sister has 5 mangoes. How many mangoes you have between you and your sister? Okay, yeah, you don't really have any mangoes, and it is something that is not really important, because you cannot make any mango juice because you don't have 10 mangoes, you don't even 5 mangoes, you don't even have 1 mango. So why the problem in the teacher in mathematics lesson is talking about mangoes? Where are these mangoes? What is the point? The point is that we need to learn the meaning. Okay, so the important thing is the choice, it's not the result. Now, if we have not understood, we haven't understood and realized the idea of addition or multiplication, then multiplication is the same. There are 5 children in the house, and each child gets 2 mangoes. So how many mangoes are there in the house? Yeah, okay, yeah, again, 0 mangoes, because it's not the season for the mangoes. So it's in a sense, the mangoes are irrelevant. They're just an example to understand the multiplication idea. So in the same way, our duties, our karma, are organized in such a way that we develop our consciousness, we evolve. Then gradually we come to the Brahma Bhuta, and then we become able to have a direct personal relationship with God in the proper way. So The duties of the Shudras are preparing the Shudra to become a Vaishya. The duties of the Vaishya are preparing him to become a Kshatriya. The duties of the Kshatriyas are preparing him to become a Brahmana. And the duties of the Brahmana are preparing him to transcend the level of material identification and attachment. So it is said that Brahma Janati Brahmana. A Brahmana is one who has realized the Brahman. Is this clearer?
Yes.
So how are all these different categories of human beings, of man, serving? They render service through the sense objects, because the karma is based on the interaction of the senses with the sense objects. That's the duties. All the duties in the Varnashrama Dharma, in human society, all the duties of a human being are through the sense objects, or to the sense object. Like, for example, we become hungry. Okay? Our body is made in such a way that it requires food, so we become hungry. And we think about the food, right? The food is a sense object. So we acquire the food, we, go to the market, and we get the groceries, we cook them, we prepare them, and then we eat them. All the while we're thinking about the food. So, what is service? Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam. So, in a sense, we are worshipping the sense objects. Because we're thinking, Machita Madgataprana. We are dedicating ourselves to making the food and eating the food, right? It's a form of worship. It's a form of service. Now, if we think about the food as just food because we are hungry, we are rendering service to the sense objects. If we meditate on the food as preparing the food is a service to the Supreme, then we are rendering service through the sense objects, because we are using the food to perform our devotional service to God. Of course we are eating it, but when we eat it is prasadam. So it's also a devotional activity. Even eating is a devotional activity, if it is done with the proper consciousness, the proper awareness. So the Jivatma and the Paramatma are always together, and the Paramatma is perception, enjoyment, consciousness, Sat, Chit, Ananda. So everything that the Jivatma does, the Paramatma perceives. He's not touched. He's not, affected or conditioned by what the Jivatma does. But still he perceives. Paramatma perceives what we're doing. So whatever we do, in fact, it is a service to God. We just need to become aware of it. Just like we are always in contact with God because God is omnipresent, but we just have to become aware of it. You see the difference? It's different and not different. That's why the definition Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva is so interesting. Because it's the same, still, yet it's not the same. I think, I don't know if you read it, but I mentioned in my commentary somewhere about the Saundarya Lahiri by Adi Shankara. And Adi Shankara writes, let every step I take be a pilgrimage, a sacred pilgrimage to your holy place. Let every gesture of my hand be a sacred mudra in the worship of divine worship. Let every morsel of food that I eat be a ahuti, a sacred offering into the sacrificial fire to you, to God. Right? This is all about the
Yes.
consciousness. Because whenever we eat, we are serving God either through the sense objects in a conscious manner, like controlled by Bhakti and Yoga Maya, or to the sense objects under the control of Mahamaya. But the Maya is always the same, and the offering always goes to Krishna anyway. This is why Krishna in Gita is saying that someone who's worshipping the Deva separately, actually the offerings still go to him, but it is done without the proper knowledge. So the same, when we eat some food because we are hungry, and we are just thinking about eating the food because we are hungry and we enjoy the food, we are still worshipping God, but without the proper knowledge, without the proper understanding. So it's all about consciousness. I don't know, have we clarified a little better?
Yes. Yes.
Good. Any other question? This verse is wow, it's really something. Not many
Mhm.
people actually understand the Gita. They just read it. Maybe they memorize it, but they don't understand the implications. Okay. Any other observation here?
No, no.
Okay.
You clarified
Shrotram
it very.
chakshus parsanam cha rasanam rasa Rasa Vaisa, the Vedas are saying that God is Rasa. Rasanam, Granam, Evacha. Rasa, the organ of taste, Granam, the organ of smell. When Krishna says, I am the pure smell of earth, I am the taste of water. That's something, because God is in the perception. God is perception. Sat, Chit, Ananda. Chit means perception. Okay. Sat means eternity, being existence. Ananda means happiness. Adhishtaya manacha. I am Vishayan upasayate. Okay. Next. Also, having the Sanskrit is very good. Although I'm not a big Sanskrit scholar, I can see the difference. If we actually read the Sanskrit, it's much clearer. Okay. 10, verse 10. Whether they are leaving the body or remain situated in it, whether they are directing their experiences or passively following the influences of the gunas, those who are stupid and unable to understand their situation, while those who see with their eyes of scriptural knowledge are able to understand. So it's all about understanding. It's all about being conscious. But the same actions will be there because we have a body and senses and the mind and the sense object. So we are here and we're doing that. Okay? Whether they're leaving the body or remaining situated in it. Whether they're directing their experiences or passively following the influences of the gunas. So when we are controlled by Mahamaya, we think we are directing our experience, but in fact, we are simply following the influences of the gunas. While when we are controlled by Yogamaya, we are actually controlling our experiences, and we are free from the gunas. because we can use the gunas just like we use the objects, the sense objects. In fact, the sense objects are also called gunas. You know, like guna guneshu vartante, you remember? You know, it says, Krishna says
Mhm.
that one should engage the gunas into the gunas. Guna guneshu. What are the gunas engaged into the gunas? I mean, the sense objects are gunas. The senses are gunas. Because they're all parts of material nature. They're all material elements. So, when we have the proper knowledge with the eyes of scriptural knowledge, we can understand why it is different without a difference. The activities are exactly the same. We are still eating the food, you know, and very likely the same food, because, you know, we can decide we're going to eat an apple, okay, a fruit, you know, a piece of fruit. The apple is always an apple, the mango is always a mango. But in one instance, the mango is material, because we see it as material. Our knowledge is not scriptural knowledge, it's not Shastra, so we see it with the material knowledge, means material consciousness, material knowledge. In the other example, we see it in the spiritual knowledge, the knowledge of the Shastras, and we know that the mango that we are eating is actually a bridge by which we can serve God in our own body. Yad karoshi yad asnasi yad juhosi dadasi yad. You know, do it for me. Madarpanam. What does that mean, doing for me? You know, it means do it in the proper consciousness. You see that when we do that, when we do things for Krishna, for God, Vishnu, call God as you like, Ishvara, Parameshwara. That means that we are thinking about Ishvara. We are not thinking about the material elements of the mango, of the fruit we are eating. So our experience is different. We are directing our experience. I don't know, is that clear?
Yes.
Fantastic. Okay. So we have these Jnana Chakshus, the eyes of knowledge. Those people who say that the knowledge is not important, that the Shastra knowledge is not important, they should be abandoned because they're toxic. They're actually, you know, trying to be, try to go against the knowledge. They're just envious, you know, so people, because, why they're envious? Because they want you to follow them, not to follow Krishna. That's a different thing. There are some people who, you know, have developed this kind of idea that, oh, knowledge is not good. You know, we have to give up knowledge and attachment because that is the highest level of bhakti. That's, you know, that's nothing. It's not what Krishna says. It's actually the opposite of what Krishna says. Okay. Okay, let's go on and 11. If you want to say anything, please stop me, huh? Anytime.
Sure, sure.
Okay, then we have 11. The sincere yogis see this Atman situated in the body, while those who are not engaged in the self remain unable to see, in spite of all their efforts, because they do not have the proper awareness. So this Atman that the yogi can see situated in the body, is the Paramatman and the Atman, is both Atmans. This is why this chapter is interesting, because it's talking about the Atman and expanding the meaning of Atman to the Paramatman as well. It's still the Atman. Actually, Param Atman is the Atman of the Atman. Just like all the cells of our body are individuals, and they have their own soul, their own Atman, because they're living entities. But we are the Atman of all them, of all these Atman. In the same way, the Paramatma is the Atman of all the Atman that are the kings of the city of the nine gates. It's like an infinity mirror, where the root, the expansion of the infinity mirror is endless. So the entire mirror is Paramatman, Bhagavan. We only see the connections, but everything is God. That's what my Krishna is saying. Vasudeva Sarvamiti, Samahat Vasudurlabha. When we are actually able to see that, it's because that we have the proper awareness. And awareness comes from the proper knowledge. The proper knowledge starts with theory, then we apply it in practice, and then we realize it, and it becomes constant awareness. As Krishna defined in previous chapter, Sthita Prajna. One who is Sthita Prajna is someone who has a constant awareness, a solid awareness. We may have flashes of awareness during our evolution, but at the end we become more aware, constantly aware, solidly aware. Okay. Is this clear?
Yes.
Any comment? Anything? No, not particular.
No.
Okay. Then we go on. And 12. Know that the radiance that illuminates the entire universe, emanating from the sun and seen in the moon and in fire, is actually coming from me. This is very interesting. So, God is light. But it's not just light, it's the source of light. Because the Brahmajyoti is the radiance of Brahman. Brahman is also the Brahmajyoti. Brahman is everything. Brahman is the source as Parad Brahman, and is the cause and the effect as well. So that's why the Upanishads are saying that you are Brahman, I am Brahman, we are all Brahman. So we are all together, we are, God's existence. God is existent. Existence itself, the supreme existence, Sat. So anything that exists is part of God, because it's part of the existence. I don't know, am I going too fast?
No. It's fine.
Okay, excellent. So this is why this verse is explaining that when someone comes to the Dham of God, the position, the abode, the place, but not a place limited by time and space, but it's the existence of God. There is no need for sun, moon, or electricity or fire, because Everything is self-luminous. Everything radiates, everything is light. And this is why, the subatomic physics are actually connected to the Vedanta, because the particle physics are starting to understand the actual reality. Everything, inside the atom, there is a universe. If if the atom opens up, there will be so much light. Like when we have a nuclear explosion, atomic explosion, we have an incredible light. The sun is the manifestation of the light coming from existence, because the sun is a constant atomic furnace where the atoms are constantly opening up, and the sun is our main reference regarding the light. The moon is also depending on the sun, and fire is also depending on the sun, because what is fire? Fire is the principle by which the fuel is burned. Where is the fuel coming from? Everything comes, on this planet comes from the energy of the sun. The sun is creating, making the plants develop. The plants develop wood, and then the wood can burn and give light. But without the sun originally, nothing can grow, and we cannot have a fire. So everything that illuminates the universe is actually coming from God through the sun. Okay. Yeah, here. Only now mainstream scientific researchers are discovering, or rediscovering more likely, the actual nature of matter and energy and the secrets of the light within the atom. Okay, and blah blah blah. Vishnu Purana, blah blah blah. The energies in all creations are inconceivable for the human capacity of knowledge. They emanate from Brahman, but manifest the creation and all the rest. And again, Brahmajyoti, blah blah blah. So we can also read the commentary. And verse 13. Entering.
Can we stop here?
Yeah. Hello?
We can continue probably next time.
Fantastic. Yes.
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.